long-term viewers to the channel will know that I am not often wrong, the voice of a generation. Well, not for me to say, but yes, obviously. Anyway, one thing I was wrong about was Avatar: The Last Airbender. I got told for ages and ages and ages, this is a great show with compelling characters and a richly drawn world, and you, particularly you, Adam Cleary, would really like it, but I thought, nah, it's a Nickelodeon show, isn't it? So, I mean, I'm sure it's really good, but it's clearly just for kids, and it won't be that good whatsoever. And then the film came out, and I thought, well, do you know what? If people are telling me I'll enjoy this, I might as well watch the nice bite-sized hour 30-minute version of it, and that absolutely sucked. So I was like, yes, well done me, I have correctly identified something that is incorrect about people's opinions of me. They think I would like this, but no, it is terrible. I'm going to give it a wide berth. And so I did, until lockdown, where I've been desperately looking for little things to watch to fill in little things here. Like, I don't want to sit down and watch an hour-long thing. I don't want to sit down and watch a movie. I just want something that's going to fill in a bit of time. And I was flicking through Netflix, and lo and behold, what have they just got? Avatar: The Last Airbender. So I thought, well, do you know what? People are still telling me it's really good. I'll give it a go. And it's incredible. Like, everybody was right. The characters are brilliantly drawn. Aang is one of the best protagonists I've ever seen. Prince Zuko is one of the best antagonists I've ever seen. This world of firebenders and airbenders and waterbenders and earthbenders is just fantastic, and how it all comes together, and there's an avatar on top of it all. It brings everything together, and there's this war, and they're wiping everybody out, and it's really good. It's just such a good show, and I'm only like 2/3 of the way through the first season, the first book as it's known, and I think it's absolutely incredible. I cannot believe I did not watch this show. I cannot believe I ignored everybody's advice. I have wasted my life, but I'm making up for it now. I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you have dismissed it because it's a Nickelodeon show and you think it'd be for kids, you are wrong. It is for actual grown-up adult men like me, and I love it.
Okay, I'm not too proud to admit it. The series, the television show that I initially got very, very wrong was Brooklyn Nine-Nine. For years, I just rejected it. I just didn't want to watch it. I just thought it was going to be another Big Bang Theory, but this time it was set in a police force office place. I just didn't care. I didn't want any of it, and people kept telling me to watch it, and I was like, no, it looks terrible. I don't want to go near it. And then I had a night out with a very good friend of mine, and we got back to my flat, and he demanded that we watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He was very drunk. I was also very drunk, but I submitted. I went, okay, fine, we'll watch it. And he passed out within about 10 minutes. And I sat there and watched about 6 episodes of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I absolutely loved it. It was great. So I felt very stupid. I felt very silly for rejecting it for so long. But yeah, drunken experience aside, now I'm sober and I've watched it. It's one of those shows that I just feel like it's the gift that keeps on giving. It's one that you can continually go back to and rewatch. It tackles some serious issues as well throughout. It's not all just fun and games, but I love it. It's got so many brilliant recurring jokes. There's a lot of thought that goes into the show. It's not just laugh-a-minute stupid gags that mean nothing going forward. And you really start caring about the characters. Now it's the show that I go to whenever I just want to relax and be around characters that I genuinely like, which is a really, really impressive feat. So yeah, I tip, if I was wearing one, the cap is being tipped to Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm sorry, I got it so wrong.
The great TV show that I was initially wrong about was the US version of The Office. Now, a bit of a backstory to this one. I adore the UK version of this show. 2 perfect seasons and a Christmas special featuring David Brent and all the gang at Wernham Hog, Tim, Dawn, Gareth, throwing shoes over pubs, that was the real quiz, etc. But when I found out there was going to be an American version of this, I thought, well, I won't be watching that, considering the awful track record the US has of ruining some of our best shows. I'm talking Top Gear, Men Behaving Badly, absolutely fabulous. The Young Ones, Cold Feet, Coupling, The IT Crowd, Skins, and oh my god, their version of The Inbetweeners is so bad. So I thought, well, why ruin one of my favourite ever TV shows? But then I found out that Steve Carell was going to be in it as the sort of David Brent-esque character. I thought, you know what? Maybe I should give this a chance. And I am so glad that I did. I mean, what a cast. What a sensational, 9 seasons it was. Jim, Pam, Dwight, bloody Schrute. This is a TV show that I have watched on numerous occasions now. It makes me laugh, it makes me cry, and it mainly makes me waste a lot of time I should be working watching YouTube compilations, mainly of my favourite character, and that would be Stanley. I know what you're thinking. What? You're not going to pick Michael Scott as your favourite character? And to that I would say, did I stutter? Big question though. I'll leave you with this. Does Stanley have a moustache?
Right, so the TV show that I thought was absolute tripe and that, I hated and wanted nothing to do with, but soon changed my mind, was The 100. Now, it's not the best TV show on air or of all time, you know what I mean? It's a simple sci-fi, young adult fiction kind of thing. It's got Hunger Games vibes to it. It's very CW. And I basically saw it all advertised all the time and thought that it looks like a load of crap. I hate that. I hate everything to do with that. It looks unbelievable. It looks formulaic. It looks like nothing I want to do with. And I don't want to waste my time with another, there's no stakes and everyone is just running around being young and attractive and fancying each other. But in the future, I didn't want anything to do with it. But my parents did. They did. They wanted to watch the 100, the 100, whatever. And they put it on. And they like an easy watching sort of thing. And it was very easy watching to begin with. So they had this on for their little sci-fi film. And it'd be on in the living room all the time. Every time the new episode was on, they'd watch it in the living room. And I'd be in there trying to do my business, just sit on my laptop ignoring everyone. And it would always be on in the background whilst I was doing something. And I started to learn people's names and what was going on and hating them for it. I thought it was drivel. I thought it was drivel for the longest time with this first season. Until something flipped. I can't even remember what the thing was that did it, but something just switched slightly, and instead of hating it, I realised I was pretending to hate it, because I was like, oh, what happens to Clark in the next episode? I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh, what about this? What about this? And I was like, oh no. And I've put up such a show about hating it and not liking it and thinking, young adult fiction, I don't want anything to do with it, I'm too cool for this, I'm too edgy, I want something hard and real hitting where people die and stuff. And no, I love and live for a bit of Hunger Games-esque. Ooh, what are these teenagers gonna do in this perilous new world? And I'm not ashamed of it anymore. It got to the point where I was like, guys, you're gonna watch The 100 tonight? Because I'm gonna be on my laptop and I'm not doing anything. So if you want it on the background, that's fine. I don't mind. You do what you want. I just leave my headphones out so I can, engage if I want to. And from there it snowballed into me being like, when's the 100 on? I want to watch the episode. And then falling out of love with it, of course. And me watching it and engaging with it for ages. But yeah, the 100, unexpectedly brilliant. I can't say I recommend it as the best TV show of all time, but it will hook you. It is engaging. It's very MTV sci-fi and just love it unashamedly. My favourite guilty pleasure of a TV show that I watched.
A great TV show that I was wrong about. I mean, that's really difficult given that I'm never wrong about anything. Well, that's a massive lie, but Star Wars Rebels. I love Star Wars. I love the Clone Wars. And going into Rebels, I watched it as it came out. And I really liked Season 1, and I thought Season 2 was amazing. And they were teasing up loads of stuff with like Maul and Ezra being potentially, a dark side character. There was the whole finale with Ahsoka and Vader, and it was such a good show. And then Season 3 came along, and the first few episodes really kept up that pace, I thought. And then they had that whole thing where Ezra and Maul are like, Obi-Wan, we know where Obi-Wan is. And I was like, oh my god, they're gonna end the Obi-Wan Maul story, that's so cool. And then proceeded to have about I want to say 8 episodes of filler. And by that point, I'd had my issues with the show, and I just decided to cut my losses and think, you know what? You've teased this up, and it's just not going anywhere. It turns out I'm a massive idiot because it eventually does go somewhere. And after finishing Clone Wars Season 7, I went back to Star Wars Rebels this month, and I've basically watched all 4 seasons. And I enjoyed it so much, I had a bit of a cry at the end. The show is amazing, and I feel like a massive idiot because when I gave up on the show, that fillery period kind of made me reflect and think, okay, what am I getting out of this? And I remembered that I really didn't like Ezra as a character. I thought he was very one-dimensional, kind of basically the in for younger viewers to get into the show. And he was just really, really grating on me, especially when I thought that there were other more interesting characters in the group, like Kanan and Hera especially. But yeah, no, I went back to it, and even though I do think those fillery episodes in Season 3, I mean, they're not as fillery as some of the Clone Wars ones, let's face it, I went back to it, And I absolutely loved it. Like, again, I loved it so much that I had a little cry at the end of it, and I'm so excited to see what they do with those characters next, assuming that they're going to be in The Mandalorian Season 2. Yeah, Star Wars Rebels, I really didn't like I did enjoy it, and then I got really bored with it, and I thought that basically, you know, Season 3 had taken it off a cliff, but going back through it, I was like, what was on? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. You should all go watch Star Wars Rebels if you didn't like it at first, because it deserves a second chance. It's really good. And yeah, very character driven. And the serialized nature definitely works to its benefit. And it's something that I feel the Clone Wars learned in its final season as well, in Season 7. But yeah, Star Wars Rebels. Really excited to see if the sequel successor series thing actually happens. But yeah, Rebels. Really good. You should go watch it.
Okay, so one great TV show that I was immediately wrong about was Game of Thrones. I just had such a hard time getting into this show despite everyone telling me it was great at the time. And I'm talking like, you know, when season 1 was just coming around and everyone was kind of jumping on. I remember watching the pilot episode and kind of just slogging my way through it, not being fully convinced by the premise of the characters or whatever was going on, and I dropped off immediately after that. But then when, you know, season 2 started picking up speed, we had, you know, season 3, we had the Red Wedding, and things were finally kicking off, and it was becoming a proper pop culture phenomenon. I had to go back and see what all the fuss was about again, because people just wouldn't shut up about it. So I tried again. I went back, watched the first episode, watched about 4 from season 1, and again, I just didn't think it was for me. I must have had a chip on my shoulder or something about this kind of show. Maybe for some reason I thought it was cool to be immediately anti-Game of Thrones. And again, I mean, yeah, my main man Sean Bean was there and he was having a good time and the world seemed quite interesting, but it is so dense to try and get into. And even the second time around, I just wasn't here for that level of kind of complexity and depth, I suppose. When the first time I watched it, I thought the most interesting things were the teasers of the White Walkers at the beginning. And when I knew those things weren't going to come into play for a long time, I dropped off again. And it was only about a year later, the third time was the charm, where I was convinced by my girlfriend after that to, you know, give it a proper go. We'll watch it together. Sit down, plonk your ass on the couch, and we'll actually go through this program and I'll get you to enjoy it. And I finally, after 3 attempts, fell in love with it properly and I started talking about it, couldn't get enough. I got to it very late because it took me so long to be convinced. And even then, to be fair, the first season I still had similar problems with, and it was only until the end of season 2 that I finally, you know, got what everyone else was loving about it and understood why Game of Thrones was the biggest thing in the entire world. And then by the time you were into season 3 and you were to season 4, which most of it I fortunately managed to catch live, and then on to season 5, and I just thought, yes, this is great, I'm having such a fun time. And the less we talk about the final season, and the more I reflect on this final season, probably the better. But still, you know, great show. I was wrong. I'm big enough to admit that. I was wrong almost 3 times, in fact.